Hello, my name is Wyld from Wildly Tarot, and this is your Moonday message for the week beginning January 18th, 2020. And as I feel into the container that is available for us as a collective this week, it feels again as though there is a bit of a contraction. There's just a pause, a still point, a waiting, and when I close my eyes and really take in, the sensation that I get is that of like a bubble. It's really taut. There's pressure on both sides of it, a desire to release that tension, to burst. And yet at the same time, bubbles, they contain rainbows. They have beauty, they're swirling, they're moving. There's a fluidity and a flexibility that is still available within that container, as long as we can breathe and allow ourselves to be in the tension of that experience of feeling what was behind us as well as what is in front of us, and just holding that space together. And so the main card that came forward for this week to describe that tension of the bubble, we have the Eight of Swords. And this card really represents it represents a transition, right? The eight is an infinity loop. It represents that point in the middle where we're moving from one side into the other experience, into the other side of that loop. And for myself, the Eight of Swords in particular comes forward when we're coming really cognizant, when we're really becoming aware of what we have tied ourselves to, what we have chosen to be connected to, and now seeing the results of that choice, the consequences, the repercussions, the benefits. And as you can see in this card, the being is surrounded by these swords and is literally tied to one of these swords. It's forming almost a fence around this being, and yet if they were to untie from that one sword, there would be a clear path moving forward. And that is what I'm sensing, is that tension of the bubble this week, is that we're really seeing both individually and collectively how we've arrived at this point, at this moment in time. What belief systems we've tied ourselves to, what relationships, what jobs, what patterns, what addictions, all of the things that have incrementally added up to where we are in this moment. Again, on that microcosm level, based on, what friendships do you invest in? How do you invest in with your family of origin or the family that you've chosen? The way in which you earn your money, the places in which you invest in the community. All of these little ways, they are both beneficial and come with consequences, with an exchange of our time, with an exchange of our resources. And if it isn't an equitable or feeding sort of situation, then it's something to look at. If we surround ourselves with too many swords, we're quite ineffective and unable to really move our lives forward. And then on the macrocosm level, if we're looking at our communities, at our society, at our culture, at our country, wherever we might be located on this planet, we begin to see what have we bought into that is no longer working for us, or is no longer working for our community or for all people. And what are we willing to continue to tie ourselves to? What beliefs, what patterns, and which ones are we going to untie ourselves from and remove out of our way so that we can find a new and different path forward? So really just leaning in to the discomfort of that tension this week, and recognizing that it won't last forever. Bubbles pop, tension cannot stay in place. Tension is not stagnant. It's actually energy that is just waiting for that moment to move. So we're in that space this week. We're just in that space of, that tension before the storm hits. And so how do we support ourselves? How do we individually and as a community support ourselves and one another when we're in this tension, waiting for something to finally shift and create momentum and move forward? And the first one we have is the Seven of Pentacles. Pentacles being earth, ground, really getting ourselves grounded. And this one in particular speaks to creativity, using our hands, allowing ourselves to pour out whatever's inside outward to be manifested in the physical reality. So art, song, dance, sculpture, writing, using our hands to create something that is meaningful or beautiful, or just allows us to externally process whatever might be jumbled up in our brains. That is a really excellent way for us to ground ourselves and to come back into this moment instead of future tripping over something we don't even know about yet, or being stuck with longing and ache in a past that no longer exists. When we utilize our hands, when we engage and activate our creativity, it brings us into this moment. Right here, right now. It helps us find flow. It helps us find a way to be in this tension that is present without allowing it to overwhelm us or overtake our experience. And then the second card to support, again, a Pentacles card, that Earth card, a sense of safety card. Here we have the Ten of Pentacles. Now the tens speak to the completion of a cycle, of a spiral, of a process. So this card is saying to me, let's just keep breathing. This week also contains a completion for us individually and collectively. It contains a space where that bubble is going to pop, and we are going to step into the next part of that infinity loop, the next cycle, the next spiral. So just breathe easy into that. Allow that to settle. It's okay. All will be well. Everything is unfolding. And to support ourselves as we come to that completion with this Ten of Pentacles, it calls forward the archetype of the mother, this nurturing quality, this sensation of holding as well as allowing ourselves to be held. So I want to invite you this week to allow in whatever feels like a mother's hug to you, whatever feels like that, just, okay, I can feel myself. I'm grounded. I'm connected. Do you need to make a big pot of nourishing soup for yourself this week? Or is there someone in your life who can make that pot of soup for you? Can you trade foot massages with anyone that you reside with? Can you connect with people in your life via Zoom or phone or email who you find to be very nurturing people, and allow them to share that gift and that magic with you? Can you nurture yourself? Can you body oil? Can you take good care of this precious, precious body that might be feeling some angst from the tension of this bubble? What can you do this week to really invite in comforting that doesn't necessarily mean leaning into our addictions or those comforting mechanisms? What is healthful and nurturing for you? How can you achieve that for yourself? And are you willing to step out of your comfort zone and ask for it if you need support? That feels like the clean message this week. I hope that it serves you well and that you have everything that you need. Take good care of yourselves. Get some sunshine if you can. Let your skin drink in that vitamin D. Make sure you're drinking lots and lots of water. We are individually and collectively moving through this tension, and tension, whether we like it or not, activates the animal body. So we will have higher cortisol levels. We may have extra adrenaline running through our system. Our brain is being bathed in very specific cocktails of chemicals that are designed to help us stay safe, and yet may or may not be needed in this particular moment based on what our personal circumstances are. So the more water we drink, the cleanest water we are able to find for ourselves, the more we can keep the body hydrated, move those chemicals through more quickly, allow ourselves to come back into a baseline of homeostasis where we can tap, we can breathe, we can stretch, we can touch ourselves in loving ways, we can ask for support if we have other people we are in contact with, and just come back on baseline. Just come back into ourselves, back into home as much as possible as we ride out this tension and we wait and see what's on the other side. Thank you so much for giving me some of your precious time. I appreciate you, and I will see you next week.